Thank you for letting me come over. It's a bit strange, me coming over here after you've been to mine so many times. I really hope you're not angry with me. I know you cancelled our date, and maybe I should have left it alone, but you said you were sick, and I wanted to come and see if you're okay, drop some things off. You don't have to let me inside. I can just hand you some things. I really don't want to have upset you by coming here all uninvited and everything. I don't like the idea of you being sick, and you could have come around anyway. If you were physically able. I can't catch any human sickness, and at the very least I could come over and maybe help or cook you something if you can't get yourself moving. Oh, sweetheart. You... So you lied. Alright then, you omitted the truth. Why wouldn't you just say you were on your period? Grossed out? Need I remind you that before I was turned into a vampire, when I was still human, before I became not fully alive, I still experienced such things? Did you forget that I was trans? I have had my fair share of people, usually, sadly, cis men being grossed out, as you put it, by discussion of periods, but I'm not one of them. And I'm sorry that your experiences, or if you've had experiences where previous friends or partners or anyone has told you that you can't talk about it or seek help, but I very much would like to help. What about the blood? Well, I'm not hundreds of years old, but I like to think that I've been around people long enough that I can handle. I can control myself. I go outside. We met at a mall. Tens of people there were on their period while we were there. If I couldn't cope with that, I wouldn't really be able to leave the house ever. And I do. If you're just not comfortable with the idea of a vampire in your presence while you're bleeding, I can go. I bought some things, but I really didn't mean to intrude. I don't want you thinking you can't trust me. Or that all vampires are ravenous monsters who can't control themselves. Oh, you don't need to comfort me. I'm sorry. You're already having a horrible day. You're the one that needs comforting. I appreciate it anyway. I gather if you've had bad experiences in the past, it might be hard to unlearn them or realize that not everyone is going to act that way or respond that way. Could you promise to be honest with me about what exactly is making you feel sick? Okay. Thank you. I'll be honest with you. That you smell amazing, but I can keep a clear head. If you don't want me feeding, I won't. I can just focus on you. Like I said, if I don't want you stuck in bed in pain, if there's anything I can do. Can I come in? Thank you. It is a bit strange to have not been in here before. I mean, I've seen it, pictures and when we've been on video calls, but something else to actually be able to be in it. See all the things you collect. It's very you. That's a good thing, to be clear. How are you feeling? Pain level wise, symptoms, your head, your stomach. I see. Have you taken anything, any painkillers? Have you eaten? Have you moved much at all? Right. Well, I hope you don't think this is presumptive that I brought things over. I am not assuming or accusing that you didn't already have these things in stock. It's just little things. I didn't go crazy. I haven't brought you any period supplies or anything. I presumed you already had your own, and don't know if you prefer pads or tampons, and I did not want to bring both, only for one of them to just get thrown away. So, like I said, I presumed you had things. But I brought some chocolate. That's always something that I recall helping me. And there's all sorts of gadgets these days, I suppose, that are more helpful that didn't exist then. All sorts of heated blankets and pads. And do you have anything like that? Or I know there's things you can put in the microwave to warm up. Right. Well, I think, if this is okay, we could make sure you're comfortable. And I could cook you something. Or we'll make you something if you don't want hot food. Well, I never got the chance to. I was never taught how to make food growing up, Parents really sent me away, Didn't want me to be their problem, I suppose. And boarding school wasn't very focused on teaching us how to actually take care of ourselves, so, but once I graduated, Well, went to university. I got to experience living on my own terms, not under anyone else's rules. I realised there's so much I didn't know. Obvious things that everyone else was taught, but... Well, I suppose not everyone else was taught, but very common sense things that maybe some of the privilege I had just meant I never learned. I really wanted to feel like a person. I don't know how else to phrase it. To be able to do things for myself. And the idea of being able to eat what I wanted when I wanted and figure out what I liked. It was a little way of sort of taking back some control that I felt like I never had. Everyone else always just decided things for me and told me what I had to do or eat. And while I don't need human food anymore, and in fact shouldn't really ingest a lot of it, the act of making food is soothing in a way for me. And I do like baking, as you know. There are recipes that I can mix blood into, make it something that actually my body is actually getting some nutrients from. Not that that's anything I would make you. I'm not about to feed you blood. I still know how to make regular food, and I suppose for a long time I haven't had anyone to cook for. So we've been together long enough, I know what you like. I might have bought some ingredients, and if you don't want to eat it, you don't have to, and we could get you lunch sorted, and I could stay over for tea if you wanted, and I could cook you something. If you don't get sick of having me here. It's a plan, then. Thank you. Oh, well, I understand it's something I'm doing for you, but I still feel like you're indulging me a little by letting me. It's not always the easiest thing to let people help you. So, let me put all this down. Is it alright if I put them here? Right. And what to do with you? Would you like to relax on the sofa or the bed? Right. No, I insist. Where's your, the heat thing you have? I see. Let's... get that on. And get you comfortable. Oh, I can't imagine what it's like trying to go around your regular life in this much pain. I know everyone's, well, their pain tolerance is different, but also everyone's periods are different. Some last a few days, some last a whole week, some get terrible migraines or cramps, some don't really get anything at all, and people really exaggerate the mood swing thing, I think, or mischaracterize it. There's all this stereotypes of angry mood swings, but personally, in my experience, I always used to get depressive episodes on mine. I just get upset more easily, cry more easily. And then on top of that, you're in pain. Of course you might snap or be a bit irritable. Anyone and everyone is when they're in a lot of physical pain. It's completely understandable. And yet people don't understand. or want to. People don't realise what strength it takes to be on your period and still be going around your regular day-to-day life. We both know why that is. Sadly, the root of a lot of things is misogyny. Yeah. Is that comfortable? I would offer to massage your stomach if that would help, though my hands will be quite cold. I could do it through the heat pad, or we could put another blanket over the top. I don't mind. Yeah. I should have bought gloves, maybe. I'll try and remember in the future. Well, it's sweet that you don't mind that my hands are cold, but right now your body certainly will, so let's try. Friction still works at warming me up, even though it might not last very long. Okay. Let's press through the blanket. You really could have called me over, you know. Or still come over if you were physically capable of travelling. Could have just propped you up on the sofa and had a movie marathon or something. We still could, if you want. Well, I might have not brought my hoard of DVDs with me, but I'm sure we can still find things to watch. There's plenty of things online, whether YouTube or... Well, perhaps I shouldn't finish the thought, but I'm sure you understand. Shh. I'm not suggesting. Perish the thought. Merely that, you know, there's plenty of things to find online, is all. I could watch some films, or video essays, or music, concerts, television show, documentary. Yes, I like video essays. Well, I suppose it's no surprise that I like historical fashion. There's quite a few people on YouTube who talk about it. I suppose perhaps Bernadette Banner might be the most prominent, or one of the most prominent ones. A lot of them do, well, some of them just talk about the history of clothes, and then some of them do also make things themselves. It's really soothing, I think, watching her work and find old patterns, and she tries to... There's different levels of historical fashion. There's dressing in a way that looks historical. There's dressing in a way that is historically accurate, but made with modern means, and then she goes all the way to make historically accurate clothing, but using the actual methods they would have used, so sometimes just entirely foregoing using a sewing machine and hand sewing everything, which... the patience of that. She also sometimes does videos ranking how historically accurate costumes in period dramas are. I do find those satisfying, maybe partially because I also do the same thing. Though I do try not to ruin any period dramas or set pieces for anyone else. I also like, there's a channel that, Raymona, I think, I find lost media really interesting, but a lot of it, or at least, well, the majority is not horror. The majority is probably boring, banal things, but a lot of the time when it is covered, it is through the lens of horror and spooky happenings, and I can't really handle that. But she found I guess quote unquote girly media. There was a Sailor Moon adaptation before they did the English dub of the anime, the original 90s dub. They were going to adapt it. Like, it was going to be part live action, part cartoon. And there was a pilot made, but it had never been found or released. There were some screenshots, there was this music video that someone had a recording of being shown at some sort of Comic-Con. But she went on her own investigation and managed to find and contact a bunch of people involved and interview them, which I thought was very sweet. And in the end, managed to find and get a hold of the entire pilot and posted it for people to watch for free. There were some Nintendo DS games, I think they were as well, that she found in different videos. What else? There's a channel I've watched a couple from because their videos look at well, not exclusively, but you're going to notice a trend. Again, sort of girly topics. Well, in particular, I sort of got watching her videos about early 2000s, like girly flash games. So, she did ones about girlsgogames.com, or the Sue Games, or My Scene Barbie. Lee Speaks, if that's how you pronounce it. Lee Speaks? And then, what else have I watched recently? I ended up watching one that was all about, like, every version of Tamagotchi that had been released. I know what I just said about horror. I really can't do it. I can't do jump scares and things. And yet, no. Oh, look. The art's very nice. I might have watched look, sometimes I get recommended Night Minds videos, and I always think they're really interesting because the way that people make horror projects is so creative and fascinating. I feel like the horror genre does give people so much freedom to do things with different forms of media, and yet I can't watch them. Or sometimes I think, oh, but it looks so interesting, and then I have night terrors all night and I can't sleep for weeks and have panic attacks, and I really shouldn't be allowed to watch that stuff, and yet, Welcome Home's pretty interesting, right? I mean, I'm a bit worried about getting too attached to it in case, when it does get to the more scarier stuff, if I can't look at it anymore, but I really like the art. Is it any surprise when it's meant to be a quote-unquote sort of vintage show? The animations, the puppets. It is right up my alley, apart from the horror side of it. Oh, I don't know if it turned me into a horror fan. Again, I have I do not think horror is bad, and I don't want to be pressured into liking it or trying it out more. I know that I can't, for my own mental health reasons. It's going to trigger responses in me and my body that are not healthy for me. It's not because I don't think horror is evil, or liking horror is evil, or has any reflection on your morals. I fully understand people can like slasher films and not want to be a serial killer. I don't think video games make people violent or anything like that. I just personally cannot. And that's fine if you can. We just won't really be able to watch those things together. Probably the scariest thing I can do is Scooby-Doo, and that's not really scary, is it? That being said, Zombie Island kind of messed me up a little bit. We could do a Scooby-Doo marathon if you really wanted to. Though, that would possibly take us years. Oh, well, there were so many spin-offs after the original show. The actual original Scooby-Doo Where Are You probably doesn't have as many episodes as you think it does. But then all of the spin-offs, the one where he was like, Scooby-Doo was like a baby. Or the ones with Scrappy-Doo, the ones where Shaggy had like a red shirt, all of the many uncles and cousins that Scooby-Doo ended up having. And then all the movies. And then What's New Scooby-Doo, and then there's been more cartoons recently. I imagine there's a lot. And probably some of it is quite bad, but some of it I think still holds up somewhat. Maybe, is that wrong to say? I think some of it's still fun. We could if you wanted. But you're the one who's feeling sick, so you get to choose. As long as it's not something that's going to scare me, you can watch whatever you'd like. We could leave the TV playing, and I could go start making you some food. And then I can come back, we can make sure you eat, and we can sit and watch some more, and then I get to cook you your tea. Thank you for letting me do all of this. And we could do this every time if you wanted. And that way you wouldn't have to associate your periods with something bad. You could associate it with sleepovers. But you can think about it. I can get started. What do you want to eat for lunch? Thank you all so much for watching, my lovelies. A reminder that custom audio and art commissions are currently open. Make sure you read my rules and message me to discuss your idea before ordering a commission. Links are in the description as always. I also have a Patreon. If everyone who subscribed to me here gave just £1 a month over there, that would help me out a lot, allow me to move out and keep making audios. Rewards of being a patron of mine include access to my Discord, ad-free streaming and downloads of my audios, the ability to leave audio requests, and 2 exclusive spicy audios a month depending on the tier. I also stream on Twitch most Mondays, Wednesdays, and sometimes other days of the week. And I have an Etsy shop called Empty Masks where I sell fan art and original art. My Etsy shop also has stickers and other merch of my original audio characters under the De Vampire Prince section of my shop. Thank you so much to my new and returning patrons from last month. My new fledglings, Hachi, Oman, Zolkova Salts, Edward, AbbyCats16, Skylar Sheridan, Charlie Mandrot, Icor111, L, Shub, Musa, Salamander Zakul, Oz, Sign My SP, Peachy Pup, Yerksits Connor, Simple, Antisocial Corpse, Casey Williams, Akari, Izzy T, Angel Face, Cow Ann, Cryptid Lux, Andy, Jops, Sam Was Here, Iris Hope, Rebecca Seeker, Hi, Bingus Boy, London, Witchy Dude 23, Gretchen Ellsworth, Anon24, No, Danis, Droopy Doodle, Rebs, Batwinged Ghoul, Rob, Wolf Girl, Kaino, Cian Cleric, Violet My Pookie, the Googly-Eyed Tarot PDX, Nat Nat, Crystal Hedgehog 1, Matroshka Doll, Carper Nocturne, Mockingbird, Cheerio00, Mortif, Tori, JM, Sweetie, Bellius Cook, Smechi, Bite Me, Rose, Mulligan, Kalida Fiesta, Dented Tester 36, Lilac Sloth, Frogs, Lux, Shawnee Riddle, Quibble, Raven Nerd 23, Moonrats, Rhiannon Slorek, Whisper, Elmo El Sensual, and Dawdley. And my new familiars, Faith, EK, Chrissy, and Maxine Brannigan.